It's fantasy football draft season, and it is time for you to lock in at quarterback. Now, we love our elite tier quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, and Jalen Hurts, plus Joe Burrow for an honorable mention. But if you miss out on those top 5 quarterbacks, you might be better off waiting and looking at late round value. This year is an excellent year to dive into late round quarterbacks because the position is so deep. I've got 5 of my favorite late round targets at quarterback for you this season. I did a deep dive into all of my favorite late round quarterbacks, plus my fades at quarterback as well. On my Dear Miss Fantasy podcast, I'll link the YouTube video of that podcast episode in the description below. And you can find the podcast on all podcast platforms. But let me go ahead and give you my 5 favorite. I will start off with my number 1 favorite. It's Drake Maye, of course. Training camp has come with its ups and downs for Drake Maye. We have to remember that Maye is learning a new system, a system that is well known to be difficult to pick up from Josh McDaniels. So we are not expecting perfection. We are simply expecting some kind of visual promise that we can see significant increase in development and production for him this season, and I think we got that. Maye's numbers from last season look overwhelming on the surface because he had multiple games where he played less than 50% of snaps. In weeks where he played the entire game, Maye never finished below QB 17. That is pretty impressive considering the Patriots had one of the league's worst offensive lines and incredibly limited weapons. Now we turn to OTAs and training camp, and his receiving core looks massively upgraded. Stephon Diggs is actually fully recovered. Surprise, surprise there from that injury. Kyle Williams is shining. Travion Henderson is thriving both on the ground and as a receiving option. Then we've got incumbent players like Demario Douglas and Keyshawn Booney that are doing well. It may not be perfect, right? But Maye's underrated rushing upside gives him a very solid floor, and an upgraded receiving core makes him a weekly QB1 candidate. Moving on to my next favorite late round target here, it is JJ McCarthy. McCarthy lands in the perfect situation for a first-year starter. Kevin O'Connell's system is one of the most quarterback-friendly in the league, built around timing and rhythm and high pass volume. And he also, JJ McCarthy, inherits an elite supporting cast with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, 3-game suspension, by the way, but that's okay, it's just 3 days, TJ Hawkinson, and even Aaron Jones as a reliable check down option. There is job security, a high floor, and sneaky rushing upside. The off-season workouts, OTAs, and training camp buzz around JJ McCarthy has been absolutely insane. You literally cannot get more hype out of a young quarterback. You can get overly hyped in training camp, but it is tough to ignore how comfortable McCarthy looks in Kevin O'Connell's system. And the system there is critical. Again, systems that stem from Sean McVay tend to be very quarterback friendly and an easy path to volume. And as I stated, Kevin O'Connell has carried on that tradition. It is no coincidence that we saw a massive leap in production from Kirk Cousins when Kevin O'Connell came in and took over. It is no coincidence that Sam Darnold had an epic comeback year. JJ McCarthy is truly set up to thrive here. Now, my other favorite late round target, one more, it's Jordan Love. You guys know that I am a Packers fan. Everyone always looks for that second year regression, and everyone was looking at CJ Stroud last year, but technically speaking, he was not the only one, because last year was Jordan Love's second year as a starter, right? There weren't any major issues. There was just regression. That was a little bit expected there. It was a combination of small dips in production that really added up to a significant dip in overall fantasy production. Love went from QB7 in average points per game, averaging 19.4 fantasy points per game, to QB18, averaging 16.3 fantasy points per game. Now, I will say, technically, if you remove one-game players, there were a couple of them that had one-hit wonders. Technically speaking, Jordan Love was QB16. Regardless, that was still a pretty dramatic dip, right? Again, it was the little things there. Higher interception rate, less rushing attempts, meaning less rushing touchdowns, less yards per game. In terms of passing, lower on-target percentage, and then he wasn't the only issue. There was a much higher drop rate from the Packers receiving core. None of them were very dramatic dips, but it all adds up. But the Packers have added a major additional weapon in Matthew Golden, and I know the skepticism around Golden's ceiling because of his college production being so late focused, but the skill set fits exactly what the Packers need. Speed, versatility, reliability, excellent hands, volume, the perfect combination, and exactly what Jordan Love needs for a bounce back year. We've got another one here in Trevor Lawrence. I know you guys see all my Clemson stuff in the background. I'm still holding out hope there. It's not my Clemson bias here. It's not that. It's Liam Cohen here. Every year we hope that Trevor Lawrence finally breaks out, but this might be the year that we finally get him back on track here because, again, common theme here. Liam Cohen comes from that Sean McVay coaching tree, and again, the quarterbacks tend to benefit in those systems. I talked about Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins. We saw it with Baker Mayfield with Liam Cohen as well in a career year for him last year. Trevor Lawrence's production has gone down every year since his QB1 finish in 2022. Oh my God, that was so long ago. But we are finally actually getting a real ADP discount on him. We don't have to draft him at some egregious ADP because of the generational talent hope that we were holding on to. He still has the talent to succeed in the right system, and this could be it right here. The combination of Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter could truly be what was needed in that exact system to push Trevor Lawrence to success, finally. And let's give you another quarterback that I am targeting like crazy this year. You know, I've made my Clemson fandom clear, but despite that, I am team Bryce Young, okay? Oh man, these training camp videos that are coming out are literally just injecting more Bryce Young positivity into my veins. I love the guy. We have to talk about the way that he has looked in training camp, and we do have to take it with a grain of salt again, because 9 times out of 10, the people in training camp, they're seeing it live. They do have bias. And on top of that, offensive play tends to be a bit amplified if your team has a legitimately bad defense. See, the Giants in the year that Daniel Jones and Darren Waller were literally dunking on the Giants defense, and turns out the Giants defense was just bad. But it does say a lot that Bryce and all of his weapons are thriving here. The Panthers actually have one of the better offenses in the league. That was a big part of Bryce Young's 2024 success and major turnaround. Massively upgraded play calling behind a very improved offensive line. Now 2025 brings the one piece that they were missing, a true wide receiver one. Tera McMillan is him. And he is the perfect big body receiver, contested catch receiver that will be dominant in the red zone, the perfect target for Bryce Young. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this video, be sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel, because I will be bringing you fantasy football advice all season long. Rankings, waivers, players, start sits, all that good stuff. So make sure that you are tuned in.